quick disclaimer. All topics discussed and claims made are verified by multiple different sources. Throughout the duration of this video, you will find inserts I have placed through depicting experts in the fields of science, history, and literature, detailing their own personal accounts and knowledge of these shocking existential phenomena. In my previous video, I discussed in detail the bizarrely wild claims made in a book titled Anunnaki 2022. What will happen to us when the Anunnaki return to Earth? The events of that book are not expected to transpire until September of 2022. However, the reason I bring this up is because in the months that have passed since the publication of that video, I have come across even more shocking information, which aligns with things said not only in that book, but also coincides with other information I have received from unrelated sources. And in this video, that's what we'll be diving into. I have already touched on in my previous videos about the reality of the present ongoing interference in human affairs by a competing group of various extraterrestrial species. But to further expound upon this, it is important for us to realize the full magnitude in which we have been hindered and manipulated by these unseen forces. Archons, hidden rulers through the ages. We are describing here, it would be better to conceptualize the term Archon as a super highly advanced extraterrestrial which operates on a level that we human beings cannot perceive.
They haven't been changed.
They haven't been changed. So we can actually read what the ancients 2,000 years ago thought of the world. And one of the things that they talk about is a chapter called the Hypostasis of the Archons. And they say that there's a group of off-planet entities that have actually come to Earth and can get into people and change them. And these entities are attracted by violence and depraved sex, and they kind of, well, almost like locusts in a fire, or coming in, they swoop in on violent situations, war, conflict, and encourage it. They feed off of it like food. And so the Gnostics who wrote the Nag Hammadi, they say that the Archons are fomenting all of this strife and war to create kind of a psychic food for them. And so we need to be aware of this because they are kind of the manipulators behind a lot of the things that are going on.
A number of ancient mystery schools, like the Gnostics and the Cathars, place great importance on the roles the Archons played in the creation myth, along with their symbolic connection with the different celestial bodies orbiting within our solar system, such as Jupiter, Neptune, and Saturn. What makes all of this so fascinating is that the Archons are said to still have control and influence over the world even to today. And one of the primary forces leading our destiny lies behind Earth's ominously deep ties and connections with the planet Saturn and its vibrational influence over us. The vibrational influence emanating from prominent planets and celestial bodies, such as Saturn, Jupiter, and Earth's moon, have a direct effect on the inner chemistry and physiology of human beings on Earth.
One of the basic axioms of astrology comes from the Emerald Tablets, and we know it as above, so below. The primary influence of this as above, so below can be seen in the movement and the cycles of the various planets. Astrology is a study of correspondences, and corresponding the movement and cycles and interactions of the various planets with life here on Earth, we begin to understand the nature of how we are connected to a greater fabric of being, that our lives are not as separate as they seem.
Touching back on the planet Saturn for a moment, Saturn is said to be the final and most difficult planetary sphere to ascend through. Saturn is associated with the root chakra, the chakra that operates around our sexual area. It is no surprise that the sin of lust is associated with the root chakra, which is also directly connected with the planet Saturn. Least desirable spirit to exist in after one leaves their body following death, according to the Gnostic Cosmology.
See what as altogether looks like an eye, the all-seeing eye. However, if you think about the planet Saturn with its rings, if you turn the angle just right, now the rings look like two separate eyelids with the center circle as the eye. So there's a lot of mysticism connected to the planet Saturn, the Jewish religion, the Catholic Church and the Catholic religion. Even Islam today has a symbol of Saturn that is dominantly important to Islam. And it was a black square or a black cube. And the black cube represents the planet Saturn. Well, that's what Mecca is in Saudi Arabia, is a black cube, a black square. All over the world, large black cubes. And architecture and churches and monasteries, huge black square cubes, just like Mecca.
So what does this have to do with the Archons? Well, according to the Gnostic mythos, the Archons are essentially gatekeepers to the higher levels of the spirit realm, with each individual Archon representing one of the celestial bodies of our solar system, the planets. And the only way to ascend is through knowledge or gnosis. Edgar Cayce, who is one of modern history's most prolific and consistent psychic mediums, is of the firm belief that each planet can be seen as a sort of testing ground on the soul's journey of ascension through the solar system, until eventually reuniting with the primordial source of creation in the pleroma, a term contemporary Christian theologians would describe as atonement, which can also be read as at one mint. The next question we have to ask is, how does one ascend through the planetary realities? And to answer this question, we have to look inward toward the inner human possibilities of what has historically been known as the human chakra system. It is also important to know that the planetary structure's testing ground can also be symbolically represented by the 7 chakra centers running up and down the human endocrine system. Paraphrasing the author, quote, "These 7 spiritual energy centers within our body are the 7 endocrine glands. The functioning of these centers is in turn dependent primarily upon the quality of motivation or ideal chosen and dwelt upon by the imaginative forces of the mind. When we get angry, we experience the emotion of anger. Our adrenaline glands secrete. The activity of our sexual glands is directly related to sexual motivation from our minds. The pituitary gland is the master gland of the body. Its secretions have a direct and coordinating effect on all the other glands. Each endocrine gland center is influenced by the influence of a particular afterlife realm through its associated astrological planetary influence." If we stop to digest everything we have seen and heard so far, and we really focus on the knowledge that has been bestowed upon us regarding the chakra systems, then it really would seem as though we human beings possess the innate possibility to raise our vibrations just due to the knowledge of what we can do with our own bodies through meditation and working on ourselves. This is a positive thing, and we should use this as an empowering tool to create a better life for ourselves moving forward. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.